actually a right-winger. That he's from a Christian conservative family who loved guns, and in fact, he attacked Charlie for not being conservative enough. And they've tried making similar claims pertaining to the man who tried to kill Donald Trump, Crooks, in Pennsylvania. But it is absolutely absurd. I've been dealing with this since the beginning of my career. I have dealt with physical assault attacks from the left, from violent extreme leftists. We called them the Black Bloc back during Occupy Wall Street. This was covered extensively when I was actually championed by the left for documenting Occupy Wall Street, and I was physically attacked by leftists. Even to this day, the death threats that we receive, the security that I have to have every day it's tremendous. And I don't see the same thing among my liberal counterparts. They don't require the same degree of security. So it's a gaslighting campaign, in my opinion, because in order to maintain the lie that the right is more violent, they do several things. They try to gaslight us in situations like this, that a conservative would shoot Charlie Kirk. He was the greatest tool in the arsenal of conservative values. And they go online, they use these NGOs, these nonprofits, to claim that a run-of-the-mill moderate conservative is the same thing as a white supremacist who wants to overthrow the government. They're so far removed from each other. That's the game they're playing now because they don't want to take responsibility for the rhetoric. The rhetoric they say every day when they accuse us of being Nazis or fascists or far right. They say this so that, as you've already pointed out, when the violence happens, no one likes a Nazi, right? But let me add this. I think the reality now that I've unfortunately had to deal with, that we are all seeing, is that this man who shot Charlie was much closer to mainstream Democrat than any of us wanted to believe. I woke up to posts on Instagram from people that I thought were my friends that I have known for years. And mind you, they're liberal, but I always considered them to be moderate liberals, not particularly active. And they're posting messages saying Charlie deserved it. He got the world he wanted. And they know who I am, and they know that he was my friend. And I don't understand how these relationships can be repaired. Even friends of mine who are not political, who are, telling me I'm sorry, this happened, they're saying on their Facebooks, there are people posting celebrating this that they didn't even realize were political. And I don't know how we recover from that.
So how did that culture begin? You're familiar with the internet. You're familiar with Antifa. You understand the militancy that you see and you encounter when you go into these precincts. This kid, raised with good parents, it seems like, lives a normal life in Utah. How did he snap like that?
It's really hard to know, but I've talked about it quite a bit in my research. I'll try and keep it as succinct as I can. The algorithms of social media starting in the late 2000s, in LexisNexis data, you can see the words like racism, white supremacy, fascism skyrocket in their usage in mainstream newspapers and online publications. This was likely due to the big tech platforms prioritizing algorithmic feeds. That is, they were going to show you content that got more engagement. And to the average person, a story of injustice and racism generated anger. Anger is the most likely to generate some content to be shared. It's the most likely to make someone share content. And so what we instantly saw were websites that were posting articles, say, about politics, realize if they write about police brutality, racism, or some kind of social injustice, they will get substantially more clicks, shares, and in turn, money. There was a really good example. It was reported, Mike.com, for instance, originally started as a Ron Paul libertarian website. But as they began posting police brutality videos and made more money off it, the narrative shifted towards left-aligned ideology. Now, what do you think happens to a young man who is 13 years old on Facebook or on one of these other platforms, and the algorithm is showing them nothing but social injustice, leftist ideology, and they may be normal, they may be in a Christian conservative family, but every day they open their apps, whatever platform they be using, they see nothing over and over again. Racism, white supremacy, racism, over and over. And they see these messages from Democrats saying, we can't tolerate this, we can't let them win. Eventually, their whole world, they live in a paranoid, delusional state where they would accuse Charlie of being racist, of advocating for slavery, exemplified, in fact, by Stephen King posting that Charlie Kirk had advocated the stoning of gays, which he never did, and Stephen King was forced to apologize for. These ideas that they spread through lies and fake news are crazy.
You know why? Because the guy lives alone in a cabin in the woods in Maine and just stares at a screen all day. I mean, he's like the perfect example of someone getting spun up by these demonic forces online. That's very interesting analysis. Thank you so much. This is even a more challenging issue than I even understood. We appreciate it, Tim.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Public News founder Michael Schellenberger is here. So
Schellenberger's great too.
Yeah, Schellenberger is great. So that brings, Tim was actually touching on what we were about to talk about before we jump to the Fox piece. This is a Newsweek piece. What is a groyper? What to know about Nick Fuentes' alt-right movement? Now, the reason that they're talking about this at all is because there are people out there trying to make the argument that this kid wasn't a leftist, that he didn't have any left-leaning ideas, that the kid was actually so far right that he thought that Charlie Kirk was not far right enough. Even though these same people that will make this argument are calling Charlie Kirk a Nazi, calling him a fascist, right? You don't get more far right than at least to a normie. I know there are people out there that are going to say, but horseshoe theory or what have you. Some people will say, well, Jonah Goldberg's book was right and the Nazis are actually left and blah, blah, blah. I understand those arguments. I'm aware of them. But the typical person.
Someone live on this right now.
Is she up? Is she?
I see someone out there. I don't know.
Yeah, he's just checking. It looks like he's just checking. Yeah.
Looks like mic check. Yeah.
But they're saying that this guy was so far right that he thought that Charlie Kirk wasn't far right enough, and they're saying that he was a groyper. So from Newsweek, the killing of conservative activist Charlie Kirk has reignited attention on a long-time simmering feud within elements of the far right, particularly between Kirk and the so-called groyper movement led by white nationalist Nick Fuentes. Kirk was shot and killed on September 10th during an appearance at Utah Valley University. As authorities investigated the motive, online speculation has turned towards extremist factions that once targeted Kirk, specifically Fuentes' groyper army, which has long accused him of being insufficiently radical. Well, hello, Tim Pool.
How's it going, guys? Pretty good. I saw you on Fox News a while ago.
Yeah.
I was wondering.
Yeah. I want to take the opportunity to reach out to as many audiences as I could. Fox had reached out, and earlier in the week, but I said, look, unfortunately I'm busy, but they do these things with satellite trucks or cell phone trucks, basically, and so they had one on, and it was an honor to be on the same day, as one of the voices to speak before Erica's going to make her statement.
We're going on this groyper thing, but you made a really good point about the algorithmic thing. I know you've made it a lot of times that in 2008 it was time sensitive feed. It was whatever the most recent, and then all of a sudden there was a switch to what's the most popular, and that just the beast spun out of control.
It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy in that to the average person, what's popular has a lot to do with what the New York Times, CNN, or Fox Entertainment decides. So if they say, tonight we're going to run with a football game, tomorrow everyone's talking about football. When it went to Facebook, they said, we'll do the same thing. Whatever people like, we'll show them. It created an algorithmic feedback loop where it whittles itself down to one singular topic, social justice. The right is bad. Everybody writing white supremacists are evil. And they found their path to making money. White supremacy is abhorrent and everybody hates it. They need to find some white supremacists. And so that's what they've been doing for a decade.
Looking for nails with their hammers.
Well, and thereby that's actually created people that will essentially say, look, if you're going to call someone like Charlie Kirk a white supremacist, it doesn't matter. And I think that that's probably fed into why there are a small but possibly growing group of people that are like, yeah, I think that America should be just white people.
This groyper psyop is vomitous.
Mm-hmm. Can you explain? I know personally who are the groypers? What is a groyper?
It's Nick Fuentes' fan base.
Is it just like, are they inherently racist? Is that their thing? Is we're going to be like racist guys?
But for this to be on Newsweek,
I know,
right? I mean, journalism is completely dead. To your point, that was a brilliant analysis, by the way, because this type of injection of that it is done intentionally, and it's to increase likes and views, and you see that proliferation of that terminology. This is disgusting. I'm sure you have too. I've been called a racist. Just recently, the day before,
daily.
Charlie's assassination, I had one of our mainstream newspapers in Utah that accused me and Senator Mike Lee of being racist, of being fascist, Nazi puppet foot soldiers. And I had not thought about that before, Tim, where we're just using that terminology. They don't care if it's true. They know it's not, but it's driving clickbait. It's driving revenue.
I think they don't care if it gets you killed. I mean, they don't care if it costs you your life. These people are monsters, and like Newsweek thinks their audience are idiots. Quite frankly, that's what this article is. They think everyone knew what happened on Wednesday.
Yep. Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.